Hi, I'm Maestro Mike, and welcome to another edition of Moments with the Maestro. Today we're talking about Mozart's Magic Flute Overture, which is a piece we're performing on our upcoming concert. There's some very interesting symbolism in this piece and in this opera. For one thing, it was the very last opera that Mozart wrote, and he wrote it and it was premiered only 2 months before he died in 1791. And another interesting thing is that the opera was a new type called a Singspiel, or speak-sing, and that is most closely related to what people would think of as maybe operetta or even Broadway musical theater, in which the actors don't just sing, but they also speak. So it was more of a vernacular type of style that he was trying to do, and it was the first one that he wrote for a commercial audience rather than for a prince. So it was very different. The princely operas were in Italian, and this one was in the vernacular language of German because he wanted the people to really understand it. So that's an important distinction about this opera compared to the others that Mozart wrote before it. Another thing about it is that Mozart was a member of the Masonic Lodge, the same type of lodge that some of the American founding fathers were members of, like Thomas Jefferson. And as a result, he incorporated a lot of symbolism from the Masonic temple into this opera and into the overture. So for example, when you hear the opening of the overture, you're going to hear these 3 chords: big E flat chord, bam, and then a C minor, ba-bam, and then another E flat, ba-bam. And what that actually literally represents is the secret knock on the door of the temple that the members had to knock to get in, because the Masons were considered subversive, and so they had to meet in secret. So it was literally just going da, 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 da. And when you hear that in the overture, recognize that that's Mozart's symbolic way of incorporating the Masonic temple into the opera, but in sort of an understated way that perhaps the censors might not catch on to. One other interesting fact about the overture is that the theme of the overture does not come from the opera. It's not found anywhere in the opera. It's this little bum 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 bum. Well, it turns out that Mozart actually lifted that theme from the pianist Muzio Clementi, who had performed in Vienna about 10 years prior, and he gave a concert for the Emperor Joseph, and Mozart was there. And Mozart remembered this particular theme from this little piano sonata that Clementi wrote, and 10 years later, he remembered it well enough that he actually lifted it and used it as the basis for the Allegro section of the opera. Now, he just takes the basic theme. Everything else is Mozart's musical genius, what he does with the theme. But he lifted it, and I thought it was so interesting that he was taking somebody else's tune rather than one of his own to create what essentially is the bulk of the overture, the section with the Allegro. So those are some things to listen for in this overture and in this opera, and we hope you will enjoy it. And I'll see you at the Symphony.